And as the nation responds to this morning's landmark ruling, Central Illinois lawmakers also weighing in.
Republican Congressman Darren LaHood says the ruling provides needed clarity, adding the U.S. should be cautious about predicating the entire economy on blanket tariffs. His comments are similar to ones he made in August when he urged caution adding tariffs on products from our allies like Canada, but LaHood did support tariffs on countries he viewed as bad actors like China.
Democrat Eric Sorensen called the tariffs unlawful, stating they, quote, bankrupted farmers, caused small businesses to close, and made it harder for my neighbors to pay their bills. Now, Sorensen is calling on House Republicans to provide cost relief and prevent future abuses of power.
And Governor Pritzker has already sent a letter to President Trump. He is demanding a refund of around $8.6 billion of estimated damages by way of the tariffs. He is the third governor after California and New York to go public with those demands.